Would you be willing to give up everything you have to follow your dreams? Whether reasonable or not, dreams are things that motivate us, that give us hope. Some dreams leave you with a longing so great you feel as if you would do anything to make that dream come true. But would you be prepared to give away all your money and possessions and even sever ties with your friends and family just to chase after a dream? In one way or another we may chase our dreams, though it should not always be considered admirable. Into the Wild is a biography by John Krakauer about Chris McCandless, a boy who dropped everything he had just to live in the Alaskan wilderness, which eventually resulted in his death. It may seem admiring, the obvious passion Chris had for the great outdoors. It might even seem heroic, the lengths he was willing to go to achieve his dream. Others see Chris McCandless as selfish. Did he for 1 second consider how his family would feel about his great adventure? The fact that Chris is gone is a sharp hurt I feel every single day. It is really hard. Some days are better than others, but it's going to be hard every day for the rest of my life. These words were spoken by Chris's mother, Billy. It is obvious that Chris had resentment towards his parents. It is true that his father had secrets unpleasant for Chris to hear, though instead of being mature and talking about it with his father, Chris chose the immature path and held a grudge. Honestly, this is not a valid reason to completely cut your family out of your life. The McCandless family gave Chris a good childhood and supported him with everything he wanted to do. The fact that he was selfish enough to leave his family without telling them is reason enough not to support Chris's decision. He never thought how much pain it would cause his family. It is true, Chris didn't plan on dying in the wild, though a lot of people agree that had he been better prepared he would have emerged from the wild alive. Jim Gallion was the Alaskan native who drove Chris to his final destination in Alaska. Alex's cheap leather hiking boots were neither waterproof nor well insulated. His rifle was only .22 caliber, a bore too small to rely on if he expected to kill large animals like moose and caribou, which he would have to eat if he hoped to remain very long in the country. He had no axe, no bug dope, no snowshoes, no compass. The only navigational aid in the possession was a tattered state road map he'd scrounged at a gas station. Before parting ways, Gallion offered to buy Chris some survival gear. After denying Gallion's offer, Chris did finally accept his boots and lunch for the day. Had Chris brought more with him, he would have been healthy enough to fight off the rotten potato seeds he had consumed, which resulted in his death. Chris greatly underestimated the wild. It seemed as though he had more pride than to ask locals important tips that would help him to survive. Alaskan hunters know that the easiest way to preserve meat in the bush is to slice it into thin strips and then air dry it on a makeshift rack. But McCandless, in his naivety, relied on the advice of hunters he'd consulted in South Dakota, who advised him to smoke his meat, not an easy task under the circumstances. Chris's lack of knowing this advice caused him to waste a whole moose, an action that ate away at him for the remainder of his life. Chris may have wanted to accomplish this task of surviving in the wild completely on his own, but it was stupid of him not to do the proper research necessary for his survival. Dreams can be great to motivate and inspire us. Sometimes we have to face the fact that although achievable, dreams are not going to destroy our lives if not accomplished. If you have to go to extreme measures such as abandoning your family and giving up everything you have going for you in life just to chase a dream, you might need to reevaluate whether it's worth it or not. Chris McCandless' story might have been one to admire had he kept in contact with his family, had the necessary supplies, and been fully prepared for his escapade through the Alaskan wilderness. It would have shown that you can follow your dreams the smart way without letting go of things that are often taken for granted.